I thought it was the greatest night I've ever seen in the Octagon. Aside from the Bud Light Coors Light thing, the Brock Lesnar deal. I wrote a story yesterday on Yahoo, and I said, I hope you only ripped him for the Bud Light Coors Light comment, because I thought everything else he did, maybe the middle fingers a little over the line, but I thought everything else Brock Lesnar did in the cage was great.
Yeah, listen, I don't tell people how to talk or what to say, but, two things that I don't like. Obviously, going after the sponsor was out of left field and the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I don't know what that was all about. The second thing is, going up and getting in Frank Mir's face after you've already, decimated the guy. It's just, it's not what we're about. It's, whether, I don't ever tell anybody how to act or how to be, but, that's out of line.
On the Mir thing, I kind of chalked it up to Frank talked a lot of trash.
He did.
Brock is a lunatic. Dana, your personality, after competing and being all revved up, couldn't you see yourself going up and talking a little trash?
100%. I don't disagree with you at all. I absolutely agree with you. And, yes, I do.
All right, so you go into the locker room, and you talked about it a little bit. We heard a little more about it, that you went in there, you go into the bathroom with the guy, and you're just laying into him. What's it like? Because you're the boss, you've got an aggressive personality, but you're also screaming at a guy who is 6'4" and 285 pounds.
Right.
What was that like?
I hear you. I don't know. It's it's just the way that it is. I've been doing this for 10 years, and when you deal with the baddest guys in the world, listen, they do things that are wrong sometimes, and he wasn't the only guy that night. I mean, it was supposed to be the greatest night ever for us, a big milestone for the company and everything else, and it's like there was a full moon inside the Mandalay Bay that night. It was just, I tell you, it wasn't fun for me, and it wasn't a fun weekend for me at all. Last week kicked my ass.
And there's no fear when you go up to a guy as big as Lesnar that he might just punch you right in the face as you're screaming at him?
No.
All right, Look at you, commanding the respect. You don't think there were positives that came out of it? You were all over ESPN yesterday. It may not be for the right reasons, but you got more mainstream media attention, I think, as much for the fights as for the Lesnar stuff. You know how surreal it was for me yesterday? Yesterday I'm watching Pardon the Interruption, and they're going back and forth with this awesome argument yesterday that I have all the time with people about the possibilities for the UFC and how big this thing can get. And these guys were dead on, saying everything that I always say, and completely agreeing with me. And it was a little surreal. So it was a great weekend then in the end? It was. But, you've been to a million events. I have these nights that go off without a hitch, and everything's perfect, and everything is smooth sailing, and it was far from smooth sailing for me on this weekend.
I understand that the publicity and the fact that everybody's buzzing about what took place after the fight with Lesnar it's pretty big. I mean, that's good that you're getting attention, but they weren't talking about the fight as much as they were talking about the aftermath. I don't know if that's good or not.
What they were doing on ESPN is they were every time they talked about Brock Lesnar, they were breaking down the stats on how many UFC wins he's had, who he beat since he's been here, and his collegiate record in wrestling. So they really did play up the sports side of it.
Good.
But you know what? I'll give you another example. Opie and Anthony. I was on Opie and Anthony, a couple nights ago, and those guys were like, you know what, man? This guy's your Mike Tyson. Uh-huh. This guy's the guy people are going to tune in and go, oh my God, what's this guy going to do next?
See, and Dana, if those guys are watching, I listened to that, and in the past, Opie and Anthony's a satellite show. It's a really good show, probably the best FM show in the country. Those guys in the past, the host knew nothing about the UFC. Norton and the guy Patrice there, and the guy Bob Kelly, they love it. But now, you can see those are the casual, 30 to 45-year-old guys. Now they're on board, and I think a lot of it was because of Lesnar and some of the garbage after.
Yeah, true. Listen, it is what it is. I don't tell anybody how to act, but, some of the stuff that Lesnar did after the fight, deserved a visit to the locker room.
Are you going to get on him? So does that mean he's never going to flip out, maybe give the finger to the crowd? Do you take that literally?
No, I don't care about that.
Okay.
Listen, if you don't want any of the fans to like you, I could care less. You know what I mean? But listen, you want to be a bad guy, be a bad guy. I don't care. Don't be the type of bad guy that's doing what you did to Bud Light. Out of the blue for no reason.
Of course. What did Bud Light say to you? Did someone call you right away?
They were like, what the hell? You want to hear the crazier part of this whole thing? Because people have never even talked to or approached Bud Light, ever. Right. That's the crazier part. see if Bud Light has disrespected him in some way, and he went nuts and flipped out. He just, I don't know.
What was the first thought that went through your head when he did that?
My brain was spinning. I honestly couldn't believe I was standing there and that was happening. It took me a minute. It literally took me a minute.
And then I could see your face on the video blog. You put the belt around his waist and you point to him, but you're like, I could just see the wheels turning. Like, I'm going to kill this guy.
No, you know what the crazy part is? The crazier part is when I just flew up there a couple weeks ago and sat down with him and hung out. We went to dinner. You know, he's such a good guy. He's a good guy, you know. He's a good guy, but I'll give you this. You know, even the week of the event, I have a hard time dealing with him. He gets miserable, man.
Yep.
He's a grouchy guy who can snap at any time, and that's for real.
See,
that is true.